I moved to the UK thinking my life would get better. I was wrong. Honestly, when I was preparing to come to the UK, I honestly believed my life was about to change. I thought about earning in pounds, I thought about being able to save money, about being able to give my children a better life. I thought once I get there and start working, things will finally become easier. But nobody really prepared me for what happens after you arrive, because you can move to another country and still find yourself struggling. You can be earning in pounds and still be checking the prices of everything, and you can work hard every single day and still wonder, where is all my money going? Honestly, before I moved, I had this picture in my head of what life abroad was going to look like. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. You hear people say things like, you will work more money, you will make more money, there are more opportunities, life is better abroad, and you start imagining your life. You imagine earning more, you imagine buying things without thinking too much. You imagine saving, imagine sending money home, and imagine giving your children things you couldn't necessarily give them before. And honestly, those thoughts kept you going through all the stress of relocating abroad, because moving your entire life to another country is not easy at all. You're leaving familiar places behind, you're leaving people you're leaving your family members behind, you're starting all over again. So you tell yourself it will all be worth it. And that's exactly what I told myself. When I arrived in the UK, there was excitement. Everything was new. The road, the weather, the shops, the way people lived, even simple things felt different. And underneath all that excitement was this belief. Now my financial life is going to change. That was the belief I had. Then reality started coming in, because the first thing you realize when you're living abroad is that money doesn't just come in, it goes out very, very quickly. You have food, you have rent, electricity, transport, phone bills, things for the children, things you didn't even plan for. And then there are those little expenses that doesn't look like much individually, but when you couple them together, they add up. Sometimes you can even go into the shop thinking, I'm just buying few things, and before you know it, you have spent far more than you planned. And then you get home and think, how did this small shopping become this much? And this is one thing I wish somebody had told me before I moved abroad. Earning in pounds doesn't automatically mean you're financially comfortable, because people can look at you and say, she's in UK, she must be doing well, but they don't see everything that happens behind the scene. They don't see the bills, they don't see the calculations, they don't see you deciding whether something you want is actually something you need. Honestly, that can be very stressful. They don't even see you thinking about everybody else before yourself. And when you're a mom, it becomes even more complicated, because you're not just thinking about yourself anymore. You have children, you have responsibilities, a home to run, and sometimes even when you're completely exhausted, you still have to keep going. You wake up, you get the children ready, you go to work, come home, cook, clean, sort things out, think about tomorrow, and then you do it all over again. Sometimes you're physically tired, but it's not just your body that is tired. Your mind is also tired, because you're constantly thinking, how am I going to pay for this? What do we do next? Can we afford that? What about the children? What if something happens? And sometimes you don't even have time to sit down and think about yourself. I'm not saying this because I don't appreciate my life. I completely do. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here, honestly. I'm grateful for my family, but I have also learned that gratitude and struggle can exist at the same time. You can be grateful and still want more. You can love your life and still know that something needs to be changed. Now, and after doing this for a while, I started asking myself a question I really, really want an answer to. Is this how I want to live forever? Go to work, get paid, pay bills, repeat it. And don't get me wrong, there is absolutely nothing wrong with working. We all have to work. But I started thinking about the difference between working for money and building something that could eventually make money without me constantly exchanging all my time for it. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, because I realized something. There are only many hours in a day, especially when you're a mom. I can't just keep adding more and more hours to my life because at some point something has to change. And that's when I started asking a different question. No more, how can I work more? But what can I build? And that's how I started learning about making money online. And I want to be very honest with you. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't some business expert. I didn't have huge audience. I didn't have thousands of pounds to invest. And I definitely did not even have everything figured out. I was just curious. I started learning about digital products, ebooks, planners, templates, guides, things you can create digitally and sell them online. And I remember thinking, wait, I could actually create something like this. So I started learning Canva. I started learning how to use ChatGPT properly. I started thinking about what people actually need. And eventually I decided I'm going to create my own digital products. Not because I know exactly how this story ends, but because I want to see what happens when I actually try. So this is where my journey really begins. I'm going to document this. I'm going to show you the good parts, but I'm going to show you when things don't work because I don't want this channel to be another place where you only see the final results. I want you to see the messy middles. You get what I mean? The moments where I was thinking, is this actually going to work? The moments where I'm learning something for the fifth time, the moments where I create something and nobody buys it, you get, and hopefully the moment where I finally start seeing results, because I don't want to pretend that making money online is easy. It's not easy, you know. There are people who will tell you just create a product, post it on TikTok, just make money, you know, but it's so much more to it. You have to learn, you have to understand your audience, you have to create something people actually want. You have to, you know, learn how to communicate the value, learn to market, and you have to be willing to keep going when nobody's clapping for you. And that is one of the reasons why I decided to start this YouTube channel. Not because I have already arrived, but because I'm on the way, and maybe you're on the way too. Maybe you're an immigrant mom watching this and thinking, this is exactly how I feel. You came abroad hoping for a better life. You're working, you're taking care of your families, you know, you're doing what you're supposed to do. But deep down, you know what something, you want something else, something that belongs to you, something that gives you another option, you know, something that will even give you time for your children, time for yourself. And maybe you don't know what to think it is yet. That's okay because I didn't know either. I'm still figuring it out. So no, I haven't figured everything out. I don't know exactly how much I am going to make from this. I don't even know whether every idea I try is going to work. I don't know where this journey will take me, but I know one thing. I don't want to spend the rest of my life waiting for my financial situation to change by itself. So I'm going to try something different. I'm going to learn, create, make mistakes, and keep going. And I'm going to bring you along with me. So if you're an immigrant mom trying to build a better life, if you're working but still feels financially stuck, if you've been thinking about creating something online but you don't know where to start, then I want to say I want you to stay because you're going to figure this out. And in my next video, I'm going to show you exactly what happened when I sat down and tried to create my first digital product from scratch. No pretending, no, I made 10,000 pounds overnight. Just me starting from where I am. So, if you have moved abroad and life hasn't turned out exactly the way you imagined, I want you to know you're not alone. You know, maybe you thought you have had more money by now. Maybe you thought you had be more settled. Maybe you thought your dream home, you know, you would have your dream home, feel happier, and everything you have will become easier once you arrive in a new country. And now you're sitting there thinking, what happened? I know you are not a failure. Sometimes life simply doesn't look the way we imagined it, you know, and that doesn't mean the story is over. Get what I mean? For me, this is a point where I stop waiting for things to magically change. I'm going to learn, try, make mistakes, keep building, going to document it here. because I don't know exactly where this journey is going to take me, but I know where I don't want to stay. I don't want to spend the rest of my life feeling like I'm only working to pay bills. I don't want to constantly consider where my money went. I don't want every financial decision to start with, can we afford it? I want options. I want flexibility. I want to build something of my own. And maybe you want that too. So this is not me coming here to tell you that I figured everything out. No, I haven't. This is me saying, come with me, let's figure it out together. If you're an immigrant mom trying to build a better financial life, like I said earlier, you are working but still feels like you're not getting ahead. If you want to learn how to create digital products, if you want to explore ways of making extra income online, or if you simply if you're simply tired of feeling stuck and you're ready to start learning something new, just subscribe to our channel, because this channel is going to be about the real journey, not just the wins, not just the pretty parties, the real thing. And who knows, maybe 3 months from now, we will look back at this first video and laugh and how everything I knew, maybe something will work. I don't know, but maybe something won't. But at least I know I started. And honestly, I think sometimes that's the first thing we need to do when we are ready for our lives to change. We just need to start. I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching to this extent. Bye.